Well, hello and welcome to the Doctor Who review, which is familiar. Thanks to Loot Crate for, well, not for this, obviously, but I will thank Loot Crate for some other cool stuff, like a Hearthstone stretch toy, which I can squeeze while I'm using reviews and things. Hello and welcome. This is the second of our series of Doctor Who reviews. We'll try and do one each every week. And, of course, this was the two-parter, which continued our story of Davros and so on. If you guys would like to contribute some ideas to the show, use ! question and tell me your thoughts about this episode. And if I like it or it's deep and meaningful and raises an interesting point, I might read it out. I don't think I have any comments yet from earlier in the day, even though I asked for some, but you're welcome to put some up and I'll read out any that I think are particularly interesting. I thought, this is my review, so of course this is all, in my humble opinion, all that kind of stuff. In my opinion, this was very good. This was a very, very good. Not quite as good as last week's opener, but I do think it was a very, very good resolution. And it got me thinking. I mean, you might think it was amazing, you might think it was good, you might think it was poor, whatever. But I would say, last week's opener was a good, solid 10 out of 10. It was, about as good as you can get. I would say this would be more like a kind of an 8 or a 9, which got me thinking about how one of the criticisms I've had of Moffat in the past is that he writes a very good opener. He has a very intriguing way of starting things off, whether it's the black boxes, I think in The Power of Three, and or whether it's like dinosaurs in a spaceship or things like that. He comes up with very creative ideas to make you kind of go, "Ooh, that's a good idea. Ooh, that's a nice idea." But what he seems to be less good at is resolving those in my view, and kind of concluding those, and that, in my opinion, there's been a few stinkers over the years where you've kind of gone, that was an amazing idea. Really, they did that with it. But I'm very happy to say that, in my view, The Witch is Familiar was a really good resolution to what we saw today. He introduced some new ideas as we went along. The thing about Clara being inside the Dalek, the sewer of the Daleks. Really, really creative, and it was new. It wasn't just like this episode was finishing off what we had before, and it also didn't feel like this episode was unnecessarily extended as well. There were quite a few Dr. Davros scenes, and I think if you go back and watch that episode again, you'd probably be a bit like, oh, there was that scene, and then there was that scene, and then there was that scene. Did you need as many of them? But actually, the first time through, it actually provides a really, really nice narrative as their kind of relationship kind of develops. And it was fascinating, wasn't it? Doctor and Davros. I mean, it's very similar. You've got these interesting dynamics of Doctor and Master, and then you've got Doctor and Davros. You've got this dual synergy going throughout these two episodes of hero and villain, and trying to interweave them. And we talked a lot last week about themes, and we talked about how this kind of "Am I a good man?" theme was going all the way through Capaldi's first series, and again was revisited here. But these two episodes were actually a lot more cheekily, explicitly narrated, I think, by Missy right at the end, when Missy, the Doctor realizes that Missy's just tried to get him to kill Clara. She kind of, as a way of kind of going, oh well, it was a present. It's all about the friend inside the enemy, or the enemy inside the friend. And there, bam, there was the theme of the episode: the enemy inside the friend, and the friend inside the enemy. It was all about twisting the idea of what it means to be friends and enemies, and when was any character being truly truthful or truly kind of deceptive. And I think I rewatched last week's first episode, I have to say, and I don't often do that. I mean, I'm full-time job, and I'm a gamer, and I've been doing lots and lots of Skyrim. I just don't have the time or the will to watch things more than once very often. But I did go back and watch that first episode again, and I still loved it the second time through. I wonder if I would like The Witch is Familiar as much the second time. And that's not a criticism of the episode, because anything that's got a twist is basically lives for that first time you watch it. Whether it's something like Sixth Sense or trying to think of other things off the top of my head now that have amazing twist endings. But you know, when something has a twist ending, when you watch it again, your viewing is completely changed because you know the twist where you're going. And sometimes that can actually make it a really interesting second viewing, because you'll be like, oh yeah, that's actually that, and that's actually this, and that's actually that. I don't think that is the case of The Witch is Familiar. I think The Witch is Familiar is one of those ones that you watch the first time through and you go, oh wow, and then you watch it the second time through and go, but he already knows that this is that, and he's pretending. Because think about it, the big reveal, and the reveal was good, was that Davros was trying to play the Doctor all along. And then the big reveal after that was that the Doctor knew that Davros was trying to play him all along. So knowing that both of these guys are actually completely playing each other all the way through, that makes all of the conversations they had leading up to it meaningless, because they're both trying to play each other, which is a shame. And Claire has just finished watching this, the episode, and she said to me, the first thing she said to me was it was really interesting with that dialogue between Davros and the Doctor. And, you know, the conversations they were having about, you know, am I a good man, and the tears, and the regret, wanting to be on the same side. You know, these are really, really interesting ideas, you know, exploring what it means to be Davros, which is what we talked about last week. You know, the idea that Davros is not just this kind of screaming maniac, kind of going, ah, you know, he's been given a depth and a meaning and a reason for existing. And could it be at his last moments, in his last moment, he's actually asking the Doctor for some kind of acknowledgement that what he did trying to be good. But actually no, because with the big twist comes along and actually he's just trying to play the Doctor, and then the Doctor's just trying to play him, which, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a shame, but that's not a problem with the episode, because the episode itself, like I said, I think it's one of those ones where you watch it the first time through and you go, oh, that was good. Also, maybe I'm just dumb. It could be that I'm just dumb, but I don't see some of Moffat's twists coming. And I should probably get used to these, but like, last week you had the Davros boy, and one of the guys said to Davros, what's your name? And then the boy kind of sidestepped the question and then carried on. I didn't really notice it. And then they asked him the question again, and he said Davros, and he's like, oh my God. But, Clary was saying that as soon as he said, you know, who's your name? And he didn't answer it, he was going to be someone, and I missed it. You know, these kind of little flags. And then it was the same kind of tonight. The Dalek sewers were really freaky, but I didn't suspect that Dalek sewer was then going to be evolved again in the conclusion. And the whole thing with Clara being put inside the Dalek and having the whole kind of like, you know, I am a Dalek. I didn't see coming. I didn't see where that one was going. And you should do. I mean, did you see it coming, or am I just thick, or you know, or is the writing actually really quite hidden well? It's one of those things you watch it again and you kind of go, that was obvious, but it wasn't, because I didn't get it the first time through. But it had some really thought-provoking moments in it. You know, with these characters interweaving with each other, and I called it last week. I said, I bet you that Missy or Clara kill the Snake Man. And I was right. Missy killed him, but they didn't do much with him. She just kind of shot him, and he kind of, which was, I thought was a little bit disappointing. But I'm not moaning about the episode. I really like the episode. I'm nitpicking because I can. Now we've got loads of good moments here that you guys wanted to talk about. Bow Ties is cool. Says she loved the part where Missy is telling Clara the story while sharpening her pointy stick. Yes, that was cool. Now, how often do they actually explain how the Master survives something? I think they've explained it twice. This one and one of the John Sim ones, because they resurrected him. Yes, there were, you know, the whole thing with the wife and the resurrection. You know, I think they've explained two, but it was good. And it also stopped. I think it was probably because Clara was involved in it too. They had to give an explanation, but it was done in a really quite creative way. I thought, you know, Clara being turned upside down, Missy sharpening her own stick, and no, I don't have one here because I haven't made my own. And, you know, Missy kind of telling an old story about the Doctor and challenging Clara, and again, it giving Clara a chance to kind of show her keen intellect. Because Clara today was a little bit running around screaming, but in a good way. Like, I've complained in the past that Clara doesn't have a lot of personality, and that little scene gave her a little chance to look thoughtful and be like, oh, I understand why, and I can predict what his moves are going to be. So it's good to give her those little moments, and also good to show Doctor and Master Missy additional history as well, like the Missy claims all the time that she knows the Doctor really well. She claims that they were good friends, all this kind of stuff, and just referencing back to past stories like that was a good way of developing their relationship. Plus, the whole vampire monkeys thing was awesome. And so he escaped. No, he's the Doctor. And he fell down a hole. Vampire monkeys. And all that kind of stuff was very, very cool. Next, I've really enjoyed every scene with Doctor and the Davros. Star loved Missy carving a pointy stick. Real Tegan, Missy rocked this episode. She got all the best lines. She certainly was very funny. I have to say I was a bit disappointed when she turned on Clara. Disappointed? I don't know. I don't know if disappointed is the right word or the wrong word. But it's like they can't... She's so evil that she's just taken the opportunity to try and get the Doctor to kill Clara. Why? In fact, I'll tell you why. Because I was talking about this last night. I reckon Missy is legitimately jealous of Clara. She's put them together for whatever reason she has. She's got this bond with the Doctor that she keeps claiming about. But the Doctor, every time the Doctor wants someone, he calls for Clara. You know, he wakes up and he goes, "Where's Clara? Is Clara okay?" And she makes these little jokes about, "No, I think I'm fine." But actually, it's getting to her, and she wants him to turn away from Clara, which I think is really, it's new characters of both of them. When I think we talked about last week on a previous review that this is the Peter Capaldi Doctor is a needy Doctor. You know, emotionally needy, more than the other ones we've had. You know, tell me, am I a good man? All that kind of stuff. And the Master is a needy Master. She's a needy Missy. She needs the approval from the Doctor. I mean, think about that finale last year with the whole here you go, here's an army of Cybermen, you know, for you. Approve of me. And then again today, she's trying to take away. She can't resist being evil, you know, with zapping and things. But ultimately, she saved the Doctor, of course, because she was the one that shot the snake thing. It wasn't Clara. And then I mean, she could have killed Clara at any point, pointy stick or not. I'm sure she could have done anyway. Killed Clara using all sorts of methods. But no. She wanted to bring the Doctor down to show that her relationship with the Doctor was stronger than Clara's relationship with the Doctor, which I think is interesting. Now, what do you think? Will Missy be back this series? I think if I had to put £5 on it, I'd say no. I don't think she's coming back again this series. Because if you think about it, most enemies in Doctor Who series only come along, unless they're like the kind of repeating build-up, only kind of come along once per series. You know, you get one Dalek thing per series or one Sontaran thing per series and one Master thing. And she's just been in 2 episodes, and she was in those 2 episodes a lot, and she was in the 2 episodes right at the end of the previous series. So I reckon that's it for Missy. That would be where my £5 is. However, if you know differently, please do not spoil me. I do not want to know. I don't want to know cast list and stuff, but I reckon we'll see her again. But not yet. But I wonder when she does come back, whether those themes will be continued, that she's still trying desperately to kind of get some... If she does come back, it will be to try and put some sort of wedge between the Doctor and Clara, because that seems to be her kind of mission at the moment. But you know what I think would be really interesting to explore would be the fact that will the Doctor give anything back, you know? Because at the moment, it has been very, very much now Missy, Doctor, Missy to the Doctor, Missy to the Doctor. But the Doctor did send Missy that regeneration doll. He didn't deny that. You know, he sent it to her. And there was a very knowing look in the first episode last week when, you know, the Doctor had the guitar and he was in that medieval area, and he looked up to Missy in the top and he gave her this little kind of nod to say, you know, come on down. And it was a really friendly, you know, come on, you know, type look. You know, no malice, no hatred, no you know, we're drop dead enemies. You know, it was a look that you would give to almost flirtatiously to a close friend. So it is a two-way street, which we've seen in many episodes, and there's Tennant stuff where you can see the same thing, and you know, it is a two-way street. But it'll be interesting, I think, to see how that relationship develops in the future, if indeed they revisit it. Because you don't want too much of it either. You know, you never want too much Dalek. You never want too much Master. You never, you know, because if someone becomes overexposed, it gets boring, it gets repetitive. You know, keep these things sparse. You know, just on occasions when they return, it all looks good. Here's something for you to ponder as I bring my little review to a close, because I've been chatting for 20 minutes now. Were you disappointed that it turned out to be a trap from Davros? How would the episode have been different if it had been genuine in some way? Would it have been better? Would it have been worse? It's interesting, isn't it? The friend within the enemy, and the enemy within the friend. Makes you think. Hope you enjoyed today's Doctor Who review. Thank you for coming along. Loads of comments here in the online chat on Twitch, so do feel to continue discussing the episode here as long as you want. And if you're watching on YouTube, then please do give the video a like and recommend it to your friends. And thank you very much for coming. It has been my pleasure, as always, to discuss this episode, and I'll see you next week for episode 3. Later, my friends. You have been fantastic. And you know what? So was I. Goodbye. Follow, 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 Addy TV. Subscribe, subscribe, Addy TV. Thank you for watching the show. We hope you come back for another go. And if you want to make sure you're the first to know. You gotta follow, just follow, just follow, you need to subscribe.